11001001. The Enterprise docks at a starbase for repairs where it is commandeered by a race of technologically linked aliens. So the aliens are the Binars.
Okay, the Binars. I like the visual design of the Binars. I think they definitely look kind of alien, and it is hard to tell who's actually played by a male or a female. I think that's fine. The concept of them thinking in binary language doesn't make sense. It feels like an original series idea, where back then it might have been okay because people didn't really understand computers.
They're very impressed by how they communicate, but just a couple episodes prior, they had a telepath who can communicate via their mind alone. Why are they so impressed with these guys?
If anything, it makes communication more difficult because whoever they're communicating with has to keep looking back and forth between them and try to combine the sentences together in a way that isn't so jarringly broken up.
They talk really fast, but they have to be in pairs, which would make it even harder because what if one of them is by themselves or talking to one of the Binars that is not part of their pair?
The writers of the episode, when they think of binary, they're thinking of two. That seems to be the thing that they focus on so much in the episode.
I never thought I would say this. I was impressed with Wesley at one point. Riker asks what they're doing, and they tell him what they're doing, and Wesley says, "You sound like you don't believe them." And Riker says, "Maybe it's nothing." And Wesley says,
"Perhaps it's just the way another species behaves."
Which is such a deep thought coming from him, especially on this show.
A more intelligent reaction than most characters typically have here.
How would they know what is different than normal if they don't even know what normal is? The Enterprise is going into a starbase for routine maintenance, and they assign the Binars to do it. They're very computer savvy. So everyone takes shore leave on the starbase and goes and walks around while they're doing everything. Some people stay on the ship. I don't know why. Riker walks around most of the time looking for someone to bang. This is the first Riker-themed episode.
It definitely focuses on him more than any previous ones. Riker doesn't trust the Binars, but as soon as they get the holodeck enhanced, the only thing he can think about is how he's going to use it for his own purposes.
Riker's making his own porn simulation, and he is super picky for being a sex-crazed maniac.
A little more intimate. Blondes and jazz seldom go together. More sultry. Whoa, too many.
This is the first episode where we see Riker pick up his trombone.
It's also the first time a woman was ever seduced by a trombone.
He said, "Give me a hot woman and a boner, and let me do the rest." So he gets up with the trio of musicians who are playing, and the actors can't actually play the instruments. It is obvious none of the things that those actors are doing would correspond to the sound that the instruments are making. Even Riker, when you hold out one note on a brass instrument, the trombone slide should not be moving all over the place. He asks Minuet. That's the name of the sex doll he makes in the holodeck.
How far can this relationship go?
And it's really awkward when Picard walks in on the porn center and Riker introduces him to Minuet, and Picard says, "This is something I might have chosen myself." He wants that threesome. He's just afraid to come out and say it. How about we do a little Binar action of our own? So the Binars take control of the ship. They fool the computer into thinking something is wrong and the ship's going to self-destruct. So it tells everyone to get off, so they all get off, but then the Binars take the ship to go to their home planet. Riker and Picard miss it all because they're in the holodeck, so they stay there. The Binars' planet is Cybertron. Oh, I'm sorry. The Binars' planet is Binar, which is just a big computer. And when all of the crew's on the starbase, they either transport off or they go on foot. No one can figure out where the captain is.
The fact that nobody tries to directly communicate with the captain or Riker at any point is also kind of strange. When everybody thinks the Enterprise is going to explode because there's a problem with the antimatter, there's only so many seconds left before it's supposed to explode. It's still in the docking bay, so even if they got out, it's probably still going to kill everybody. It doesn't make sense to transport right next to it outside instead of somewhere that's actually going to potentially be safe.
It turns out the Binars wanted Riker on the ship. The Binars' computer on their home planet of Cybertron is failing. The Enterprise is the only mobile computer big enough to store all the data, to take it back to Binar, to restart the computer. So they create Minuet to keep Riker on the ship, to keep him distracted. So when he gets off with Picard, they're trying to figure out what the Binars wanted them to do. And they figure out they want them to restart the planet. And Riker tries to do it, and it doesn't work. And Picard says, the Binars always work in pairs, so maybe it needs both of us to do it. So then they both do it at the same time, and it works. But earlier, Minuet said that Picard being on the ship is by pure chance. They only wanted Riker. Riker would never have figured out the pairing part by himself and would have failed if Picard wasn't there. So they restart Cybertron, they play it off like a joke even though they commandeered the flagship of the Federation very easily. They kind of play it off with a joke when they say, "Why didn't you just ask?" And the Binars say,
"You might have said no."
Overall, 11001001.
I enjoyed this episode not because of the main plot. I thought the main plot was a little bit nonsensical, but I liked the fact that it bounced around between so many different characters. There was more of a sense of a lot of things going on. We didn't talk really about the way at the beginning Tasha Yar and Worf and some of the other characters are going off to play some game with some of the other people down there, and Data's over here painting, and Geordi's helping him out with that, and you've got Riker playing out with the holodeck. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it feels more like a real world kind of situation where not everybody would be focused on the same thing. So I would say B-.
I would agree with a B-.